Thank you, Mr. Khalid Sherdil, for granting this interview to Politics and Development magazine for CDKN and Lead Pakistan. You recently attended COP16. What was your role there, and what did you observe as a civil service officer and an important member of Provincial Disaster Management Authority?
As you know, after the 18th Amendment, the subject of environment has been devolved to provinces. In any case, the actual implementation of environmental policies at grassroots levels has always been conducted by the provinces. This is why the provincial governments play one of the most important aspects in implementation of those policies which the federal government itself or through multilateral treaties comes up with. Our role was hence to provide real grassroots level practical input to our federal policymakers to aid them in proper decision making.
So, what has been your role at COP16? You attended as a fellow of Lead Pakistan?
At COP16, we were a party and we had an official role. Obviously, I am a fellow of cohort 10, Lead Pakistan, and I have also attended cohort 14 sessions, international sessions with Lead Pakistan, and hence I am in two cohorts. However, my role there was officially representing the government. In that role, I participated in negotiations at the G77 as well as other multilateral negotiations with SAARC. So for example, at SAARC, in our meeting which was attended by all the SAARC countries, I put up the suggestion that the role of NGOs in SAARC should be formalized and there should be more exchange of NGOs within SAARC countries, and this suggestion was noted down at that meeting.
And regarding climate change, what did you learn on the issue of climate change while attending this COP16?
The main thing about climate change is what I learned was that this is a long process and it requires continuity over several years. And fortunately, Pakistan had people like Mr. Farrokh, who is from Foreign Service, who has been there over several years. And now my name has been given to Environment Ministry to include me in the core climate change committee of federal government in my personal capacity, so that I can be part of that negotiation process over several years. Once you become part of the negotiation process, then you can actually, first session you are in the learning mode, like you have to know what the issues are which are going on, and then second session onwards you can play a more active role in actual negotiations. For example, the issue of Pakistan being a vulnerable country or not, that was dealt with and we negotiated on that. That was one of the key issues.
So what was the outcome?
The outcome is, as I am again mentioning, it's not a single year thing. It is supposed to carry through over multiple years. And it's not just these milestones which are the conferences, but negotiations keep going on in between the conferences also. And that is where the core climate committee on climate change becomes important, because it meets in between these COP conferences. And that's what I'm going to join now. And so I hope over the next one or two conferences the outcome would be more favorable.
What will be your strategy for next COPs if you represent Pakistan? What you would like to contribute towards Pakistan?
My strategy for next COP would be that the scientific and technical assistance grants for Pakistan should be maximized. And for that, there were sessions in the previous COP which I attended, and there were discussions where developed countries did not want to make these grants legally binding. And our stance, the G77 stance, was to have clauses in the draft we were making which would make it more obligatory for the developed countries to give technical and monetary assistance in these fields to the developing countries. That is an area where I would like to focus the most, because this directly benefits us in terms of not only monetary help, but also it translates into technical and advisory help, which you can actually use to improve your environment.
And who will provide this technical and advisory help? Because in Pakistan, there are not even half a dozen climate change experts. Like, from whom you will seek such assistance?
The whole idea is that the developed countries should provide this assistance to the developing and emerging markets. Not only monetary assistance, but for example, carbon capture. What is carbon capture? The technology behind carbon capture is only with the developed countries. Even China needs this technology. And such sort of assistance can come through developed countries in form of technology.
Are they willing to assist the developing countries? Are they helping?
About carbon capture, they are very willing to, provided they get paid. Provided the Western consultants and the Western companies get paid. Our goal is that rather than paying them, it should be in form of monetary grant.
What your organization is doing in this effect, Lead Pakistan, you're a fellow of it. Is it?
Lead Pakistan has, I think, played the most important role, that for the first time it arranged such a large and diversified group to represent Pakistan at the COP16. We had people from all segments of life, whether it be NGOs, civil society, retired foreign office officials, provincial government officials, and these people otherwise are ignored. So LEAD played an important role, and then CDKN, the Climate Development Knowledge Network, that is playing an important role by trying to bring the whole idea of climate change up on the ladder.
The CDKN through Lead Pakistan prepared a number of policy briefs for COP16, and to the best of my knowledge, this was the first time Pakistan attended such a mega event with some policy briefs. And there was some criticism also on those policy briefs, but how do you look at them? Have you read them?
Yes, I read all of them. In fact, there were like 5 sets of copies given of each, and they were very concise, to the point briefs for people like me who had not attended the other previous Copenhagen sessions or other sessions. And this is why for such briefs are very useful for me, and I think it's a very good example they have set this time.
My last question, that CDKN and PDMA have forged a partnership to the best of my knowledge. I read it in the roundup of CDKN on CDKN website. Would you like to share what exactly you and CDKN are doing together and how it is going to benefit Pakistan?
Yes. After the 2010 floods, we had 369,000 houses which were demolished. And we had one option, which was just to simply rebuild rooms in those houses, which we thought is not the good option. Rather, we want the whole paradigm shift. We want to make model villages where we want to teach the people, set up by example, how they should live with proper water, proper sewerage, filtered water, brick-soled streets, and all modern facilities. We are providing them with solar electricity, biogas. They are going to be environmentally very friendly. The whole idea about these model villages is that they should be resilient to future disasters. And this is where CDKN consulting help comes, because we on our own don't know how to make these villages so they can adapt to future climate changes, adapt to future floods. There are 2 major components in this CDKN support for us, which is a £100,000 support tentatively. One is how to design villages which can be located at ideal places, certain heights, certain distance from the flood areas, so that they are resilient to future floods. Second is how to actually design the buildings which are resilient to disasters. These buildings include not just houses, these include schools, dispensaries, technical and vocational centers, community areas, and livestock enclosures where you have animals. The whole idea is to have schools and dispensaries in places where, rather than getting destroyed when the flood comes, they can actually not only remain intact but also serve as a community spot where community can take shelter, and then doctors can come and treat patients.
Thank you very much, sir.